Alrighty then, people. Sorry about the massive super delays here. Essentially I've been, well, very lazy I suppose last few months, not gonna lie. Lots of distractions on my part, work's been quite tiring as well. I didn't get anywhere near as much done as I would have liked, although on the flip side I've also been waiting on a few things to happen. First of all, I will show you guys what I have done for the project. So we still have that same little area up here, obviously, that we showcased before. I did rip down a wall though, and yeah, there's some fresh stuff in here. Pretty much we used World Machine to import a landmass. We've used well, the built-in brush tool to get a bit of foliage here, but it's all the same thing, and it doesn't seem to shade properly, which is a bit strange, but that could also be due to the light direction, I suppose. But it means from this direction everything's all black and nasty, but that direction's all green and pretty. In terms of this mesh, can't really show you the mesh from here, but for the material, blah 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 blah, it's set up a little bit like this, and this opening materials always lags the computer. But yeah, we've got some shenanigans going on in here. It's quite fun. There's a YouTube tutorial for all of this that I followed. It's really quite handy actually. So I'll close that. We'll close that too. There is a day and night cycle implemented at the moment. If I click play, you'll see it going just there, like so. See, nice and fancy. Night isn't anywhere near as dark as I would like, so I need to do something there. I believe it's related to ambient occlusion, and I believe there's something up with adaptive light as well. But you'll notice the landscape's really bright. At night, the sky is really nice, but the landscape seems to illuminate. I'm not entirely sure what's causing that. I would imagine it's, yeah, I don't know, I'll fiddle with global illumination or something if Epic's finished with that. Interface looks a bit squished there, but that's because I haven't opened it in a new window. Tab gives us mouse control. I've started trying to implement options menus and that, haven't really gotten anywhere, and again it's off screen. Haven't really got anything on those. Get rid of that, and we can exit like so. Yeah, again, sadly not as much progress as I would like. I will open up the standalone game there. Have a bit of a squiz that way. Bear with it, it will get there eventually, and come on, voila, look at that magic. Alright, so we've got our usual things going on here. Our mini-map still toggles and works. That exit thing I'll be getting rid of, don't stress. These all work, but I'm not going to be keeping these much longer. I'm going to be moving everything to UMG. I'll go over that in a moment. But yeah, I mean to be setting all of this up soon. But we'll be changing a fair bit. Also, this does sort of work. I can just go bang like so. Whoops, tab to return mouse control. I've also got there we go, console commands in there and whatnot. Pretty amazing. We can kill things as usual, and they can kill us. Speaking of which, the NPCs do roam. They should be roaming. Don't know why they're not roaming. They're looking around. They're not roaming. It's typical. There we go. What about you guys? You guys all going to move around? Or are you going to spawn in the ground and get something? See, they're working. Yeah, need to look into that. Anyway, go into Shift Escape, because that was the key I set up for that. Dog's doing its thing again. Going to pause recording. Alrighty, sorry about that little pause there. The dog just seriously never ever stops any of that. So yeah, Our character blueprint is messy as crap, but I'm going to be stripping most of this out now. It's a mess, absolutely a massive mess. But again, a lot of this is going to be just taken out. This is all stuff from when I started the project in, what, 4.1, 4.2 even. We're up to, what, the preview of 4.7 for the engine version numbers, so this is all becoming a bit yuck and old and nasty, and yeah, I've been replacing bits and pieces as we go. Just the day-night cycle in here. And the cycle was sped up. Very easy to change that. Its default value is 1, and that's kind of still too fast, but setting it to something like 0.2 is nice. We've got a system in here for custom events during day and night. Obviously we haven't got anything yet, but it means we could have, say, harder spawns during night and easier ones during the day, or something like that. You know, it's quite easy. The HUD blueprint is terrifyingly terrible. Where are we? HUD. No such thing as a HUD apparently. Definitely no such thing as a HUD. Sandbox HUD, where are you? Huh. Okay, hold on. HUD. There we are, you sneaky fellow. Right, and prepare to see the most terrifying blueprint. Look at the beautifulness of it. So, again, thank God with UMG, most of this can go. This was how I had the statistics window set up, which is, it is terrifying. Look at that. Anyone looking at that would just get confused, not know what the hell's going on there, and frankly I don't blame them. It's hard to follow. I haven't looked at that myself actually for a little while, so yeah, can't wait to get rid of that. Things are hardly labelled. It's just bad. Funnily enough, the leveling is handled in the HUD as opposed to the player controller, so I'm definitely going to need to rip all that out. We started following... I just laugh every time I see this. You can tell I was fresh when I started this. What was I going to say? The inventory tutorials I was following, they were good, but there were a few issues with resolution with it. It assumed you're on a 1080p resolution, which means scaling can get a little bit funky when you go below. Not so much when you go over, but mostly when you go below. You start getting overlapping little... well, those squares that you saw before in the viewport. I'll show you again. So when we're in here, notice how they overlap. That would cause a lot of problems for people trying to do things. And there are ways around those, but we're not going to worry too much about that. But yeah, it's pretty scary in here. But again, we'll be moving over to UMG for all of that soon, and I'll actually put the leveling set up where it belongs, not in here. At one point, what was it? This was also controlling the health check, so if you drop below 100, well, below 0 health rather, you would respawn. So obviously if the HUD was disabled for whatever reason, your health pool would be infinite, I suppose, so that was rubbish. That's been moved back to the character controller as it should. I was waiting for this to release. This person here, LHutz, he's made a very interesting looking inventory system, and I'll probably still grab it when he's done. But for now, I notice Epic, when they updated this wonderful thing, have this really useful... where do we get to? Probably not here now, I suppose. Yeah, the inventory UI tutorial. Now, I've followed that through. I've made a first-person project using that now, and it's definitely looking like something quite interesting. I might be able to implement that version into my project, but I don't... I mean, I've done it. It's not bad. It's quite an interesting setup. However, it does leave a few issues. I believe... you see more of this on the forums, but I do believe that it's mentioned in here, to do with storing the items as structs or as, well, just hiding the item. If you hide, pretty much an item drops, you pick up the item, what do you do with the item? Obviously a player's going to say, oh, you put it in your inventory. That's fair enough, but what do you actually do with the physical item that you've just taken? Some methods involve hiding the item and putting them off somewhere else, and that doesn't really get resource intensive. However, you can get into issues where the garbage collection in Unreal Engine deletes the links to those items, so suddenly your inventory just breaks. Another method is packing away the items as what we call structs, and then every time you need to reference the item, it rebuilds it for you. Now, this inventory system here uses the struct method. Whenever you need to get stats from a weapon or an item, it checks the struct, I suppose, and, well, it recreates it. If you want to drop the item on the floor, it will rebuild it from the struct, the structure. What will happen is, if you're using the other method and the link breaks or gets deleted, you try and start dropping it and you're going to have a lot of fun, or you try to get its stats, you're going to have a lot of fun because it doesn't exist anymore. So that's what this uses, and I'm pretty sure the method that I followed with this tutorial here, I'm pretty sure that was using the sort of let's hide it somewhere sort of method. Well, I mean, it didn't move it anywhere, but I don't think it's using a struct to store the data. But I mean, I could have just misinterpreted everything I've done with it, and it might actually be fine. It's very expandable and very easy, although it doesn't involve any sort of equip system, and it has no sort of drag and drop functionality. So it's a little bit limited in that respect, but it's really good. Again though, I'll probably still be using this, guys, because it's looking incredible. But yeah, I figured I should probably get around to showing what I've actually done, which again sadly is not as much as I would have hoped. Still a little bit, but obviously we need to start getting content in here. We need NPCs, you know, mobs. We need animations, which is a bit of an issue too. I have, what is it, Modo Indie from Steam to try and help with 3D modeling and that, but I'll be honest, I'm terrible when it comes to that. I'll probably have to start buying some assets from Turbo Squid. That's another website where you can get 3D models, some animated and rigged, some aren't. However, for the player character, what I might end up doing for now, temporarily, is, well, being a bit dodgy and probably moving the camera in the character. So I'll open this up. Where are we? Let's get rid of that. So in here, what I might end up doing is, instead of having the camera, say, you know, back here and following, I might be sneaky, put the camera on the head, so it's essentially a first-person view, and that way I won't need to worry too much about the animation and the animations and what's happening here. Obviously, we'll still need weapon swinging animations and magic FX and all that, but it's going to be quite difficult for me to get really nice, solid animations for this. So, as a temporary workaround, so it's less noticeable, I'll probably end up doing that. Obviously that isn't going to work too well in a multiplayer environment, because if you have a player observing you and then they see that you're not really actually doing too many movements, that's going to be a bit of a problem. Which brings us to the fact I'll likely, with this project, end up starting with single player, and thinking about multiplayer down the track, having everything network ready, and that's going to be a bit fun, working out what's going to need to be replicated and what isn't. At this stage, I don't want to have to worry as much about that. I mean, I'll try to design things to be network friendly as I go along, but I might inadvertently make something that isn't network friendly, and I don't want to get everyone's hopes up. I mean, it's nothing here to get your hopes up over, but I don't want to get everyone's hopes up over just something simple and silly like that. So no proper plans for multiplayer, but I'm not getting rid of that idea. But yeah, I figured I'd let you guys know what we're up to. Again, sorry that it isn't as incredible as you would have hoped, and that I haven't made as much progress as you'd probably like to see. But we will get there, and hopefully this year will be a lot faster. I've been waiting a long time for that inventory system from the other fellow instead of continuing the one I was doing. That's part of my problem. But then, yeah, there's been the other distractions, and, well, every time a new version of Unreal Engine starts popping up, I see these nice new features and so on, and I figure, oh, they might also break the project, so it might be an idea to wait and see, and then nothing gets done, and here we are, months later with really a day-night cycle, a landscape textured, and not a great deal else to show. So I do apologise for that, and hopefully we'll make better progress as we go ahead. Until then, I'll see you around.